Hello guys, how are you doing? That's super awesome. So today is our last day. We're doing mother wounds, but today we're gonna be focusing more on mother-son wounds. I'm gonna check if I can see for your comments, then I'm gonna start and share my screen with you guys. Awesome stuff. Let me check. So I see some of you guys are like, yay, 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 yay. So I'm able to see your comments. Let me start. Super. Cool. So on the poster I had, I'm gonna touch on two topics today. The number one was is your mom having an expectation of a husband from you as a son? So we are focusing more on the son, or has their relationship had an impact on you? But what is coming up from the comments I'm seeing on the topic that I had raised, you guys are saying our mothers expect this, but they were not present. So there is the issue of the absent mother in terms of the upbringing you have. But when it comes to you now being a fully grown adult, able to sustain yourself, there's this person who you are finding yourself needing to take care of emotionally, financially as well. So let's focus on those two for today. So let me share with you my screen. It's gonna come through shortly. There is a lag with Zoom to Facebook. Why? Why are you taking long? Oh, guys. Let me do a stop share and see why oh, I can see, okay. On my side, it was showing me as not showing. Awesome. I see you guys are on. Okay, let me do that again. So there's something called a postmortem, which I think it's important for us to do a postmortem. Normally we'll see this when there is, I'm gonna call it death. We need to check the cause of death. So when we find ourselves having issues in our relationships and things have ended, we normally don't go back and look at what is the cause. With a postmortem, normally we know that there's a dead body. So we are no longer even looking for life, but we are looking for the cause of death. So it is important, guys, that we go back and look at the patterns we find in our lives and check where is that coming from. So that if we are interacting and finding challenges in our relationships, we are able to learn, because the whole point of a postmortem is to understand the cause of death so that we see whether we can treat it, so that we see that what was the reason, especially when we have life insurances. They want to know what happened if the cause of death is not deemed natural, even if it is deemed natural. So look at the relationships you've had as a person and do a postmortem in terms of who you were, how you showed up, and in terms of who they were and how they showed up. Because in the beginning, everything is so clouded. We are not fully aware and sure of who we are and who they are and why they are coming out. So let's start with the topic of the absent parent. So they're absent physically, but either your grandmother is raising you, but as you're a fully grown person, you are now expected to take care of this person. Someone said on the comments, I only get to hear from my mother on payday. When it's towards payday, I'm getting a call, they're asking for something. So the relationship is fully transactional based on what I can give. And when you are at that point, you are now, your wound is touched, because when I need you, you are not there. Actually, you can't even articulate what you need from them because you don't know what you need from them because they were not there. But this thing, because we don't speak about these things, you don't know how to say, this relationship, I'm not fulfilled as the child. And when you are the son, you have an internal responsibility towards your mother, which of course the world teaches you you should. But if this relationship is toxic, if this relationship is one where it's only transactional, it, of course, I'm going to call it, induces feelings of anger, induces feelings of, you are reminded of the abandonment, you are reminded of the rejection. Because the biggest question when we don't show up for our kids is, why am I not enough for you to show up for me? Why am I not enough for my mother to be there for me? And the person who was going through this, they would see the mother-son relationship in terms of how it unfolds, in terms of the mother only calls when she wants something. The mother is not even available for big events such as graduations. She's just not bothered. But the funny thing is this, the partner, which is the guy, the son, starts treating the partner exactly the way the mother treats him. So it's transactional again. So it becomes the power I have is what I have because I don't think you are here for anything else. You know, that reflection point is so important to understand, that we understand our value enough, that we know that other people are there for more than what we can give. If all you think people are there for in your life is what you have, then the issues are, you are trading. It's barter trading. Give me this, I want to get this because I don't think I'm worth anything else. So emotional damage is never easy to measure, but mothers who are alive but physically absent, lalela, impose more burdens with not their children feelings in a way that a biological orphans are spared, because a biological orphan, you know that your mother is not here. So we are dealing with the pain of loss. But there is a loss of a present parent, which you need to find a way to deal with, guys, because it will, I'm going to call it contaminate. It will be contagious in your relationships. Because if this mother who is not there to raise you calls and asks for money, the mood changes. And when that mood changes in your life, if you have children, you are changing in how you're showing up for those children. If you have a partner, you know, it's real because of your relationship with your mother. And I'm not saying that we are now forcing people to deal with their parents, but we need to understand the impact of those interactions in how we are now showing up in our current relationships and in how we are choosing to be in our parenting relationships. Awesome. So there are good parents, there are inadequate parents, there are controllers, abusive verbally, you know. Some parents never hit you, but their words, they are ringing in your head. You know, there are parents who hit you. One of my clients was telling me, hey, my father beat me up, to a point where the mother had to overcompensate to protect the child. But when you look now, what happens when there is anything, guys, that is not okay, you will see with your child wanting to run away as far as possible. This person is like, for me to run away from home, I made sure I applied to the furthest university. And I made sure I get a bursary because this man, I didn't trust he would have paid for my fees if they were as far as they would. So this is something totally different. And we need to touch on that when we move on to June, which is Father's Month, in terms of the father wounds we have and who our mothers needed to be to protect us. Then there's the sexual abusers. Some of us were abused by our parents. Some of us were abused by our step-parents, which our mother allowed in our lives or our father allowed in our lives. That is why the issue of step-parenting is big, and we need to deal with it so that we can find natural alignment with who we're supposed to be in this child's lives. And then there is the alcoholics. This is a sensitive one because, oh, but we've been on lockdown, alcohol, and we say control. But there are kids who can't control who their parents become when they drink. And there's an abuse that Potentially a family has gone through because of one parent who drinks. And in this scenario, which I want to narrate to you guys, is the father who used to drink and abuse the mother in the presence of the children. And when that happened, the kids get angry with the mother for not having the courage to leave, but at the same time get angry with the father for putting them through that. But because in relationships we forgive our people, like as we forgive our people and we are okay, me as a mother, I'm okay with my partner who does this, no one has ever sat with the children to talk to them. The very same father who has taken the kids through this, changed their behavior, but this person said, my father stopped drinking, that's the only thing he did. But the character is still the same verbally abusive person that he was, Potentially the alcohol just made it worse. But the challenge here is who my mother becomes in the presence of my father, and the abuse we then need to go through from my mother because of who my father is even now, And then there's just the toxic parents who just their natural things that they are not dealing with is going to permeate to their children. So all of us can locate ourselves, and we are not the same, and that's the thing. And there are seasons of us being great, there are seasons of us being adequate, there are seasons of us being controlling. It's just what we are willing to work through, because our sense of control comes from somewhere, and us having the ability to look into that is so important. So summary is this: if there's an inner void, and the inner void is what I didn't receive or who you are not and what I need you to be to me is not fulfilled, there's a gap. It doesn't matter what we buy on the outside, the gap is there, and we need to deal with that gap. So the trauma created change for us who we need to be or who we are, and the healing is about us creating the change now that we choose to have. And that is why it is important. When you see yourself rough around the edges, when you see yourself extra sensitive, when you see yourself not okay, someone was saying they lost their parent, which is their father, but their husband has both parents. So whenever they go into a point of grief and the husband tries to comfort them, they say, but you don't understand my pain. You can't. So there's a wall we are building around our own wound and our own trauma, which we start to say other people are not worthy of being able to help us through it. And that creates another wall. So when we start seeing those things, guys, people need help. We need to be honest with our partners and say, okay, if I can't understand it, who can? What help is needed? Because this is hindering you from being the best self here. If we don't call each other out in our relationships as partners when we are not being our best self, by nudging each other to find the help we need. If it's not here, then let's find the help you need, but let's not stay in the same state that could lead to toxicity if we are not dealing with it. So our inner voids are our business to deal with. And our inner voids, they definitely come from where we come from. So to controlling mothers, the controlling mothers, I heard this, I was shocked. This mother disowned their son for marrying who the mother didn't approve of. So since this person has been married, that was the last time they spoke with their mother. Every time they say Happy Mother's Day, every time they greet the mother, they're like, but you did that, so why are you talking to me? So this is an emotional punishment, an emotional I'm holding you by your heart kind of vibe, which of course mothers tend to have that power. In my post, I said when you were in your mother as an egg, so before you were conceived, you were an egg walking around inside your mother. Then you got to a stage of free RDP housing for 9 months, and then you were out of your mother. So there's a great sense of control mothers have over their children. And if we were to not talk about that and that power, we would not be honest. So if you are saying to your child, you cannot marry this person, it basically means you're telling your son, my decision is more important than your own. And normally as parents, there is a fine line between what is good for the child and what we want to be good for the child, which is manipulation and control. Now, when this man is choosing to marry this woman, there is a sense of, if I fail here, you know, that back of the head voice, you were right. So I'm going to push to do all I can. But if this woman also, who you are choosing over your mother, for whatever reason, so it doesn't matter why you are choosing this person. But if this person is now saying as well, becoming your mother, so you are doomed because you were running away from control, but you've also found a new controlling person, because now it's a fight of control between your mother and your wife. And you find yourself caught, you find yourself unseen, you find yourself unheard. Actually, you are invisible, you're just the trophy between the two. So it is key to understand the role of the partner in terms of how you are showing up. And this is deep, guys. It's not something I can deal with here. And I would normally want this to be dealt in relationship coaching, because it's power dynamics. And emotionally, it would lead to you seeking things. Remember what the relationship coach said? When we are not fulfilled, we seek things to make us fulfilled. And she said something powerful, that when you cheat or you're a cheater, you don't cheat once with one person. It's to satiate whatever that is at the time. You move on to find the next thing. So you become a career cheater. It's a career because we are not dealing with the root cause. So controlling mothers do not pass the baton to the son's new wife. No, they can't pass it on, because control is about ownership. And if I am a mother, see, I have two sons. If I am a mother and I'm investing in my sons to act like the husband I want, you know? So anything that we find wrong in our partners, we want to correct in our sons. So we are not parenting our sons for who they are. We are parenting them for ourselves. Not, of course, in a sexual way, guys, please understand that, but in an emotional way, in a mental way, in a things that we value way. The moment they need to marry, there's an issue now. All my hard work is going. I've invested in your education so that you can provide for this family. So it becomes those things, and we need to deal with those things. And as mothers, we need to deal with ourselves to know that we are parenting our sons for them. Who they choose is their business. And there's a verse I like, that fathers, we can leave inheritance for our children, but a good wife is from the Lord. Meaning you can't control the character of the person they end up with. But if we have control issues and we have invested so much in our sons instead of our relationships, the water becomes murky very quick, very fast. If you think I'm a control freak, you should meet my mother and her sisters. So control is learned, either in fear of or in practice. In fear of is there's perfection that needs to be, achieved. You were made to be like that as a child. So you seek that from other people, which becomes another form of control. I think this is my last slide. I wouldn't say that I'm a very controlling person or I'm a very controlling person. For instance, when I talk to the actors, I don't tell them exactly what I want, because I want them to surprise me. I even encourage them to change some of the verses of the script if they need to. So the element of surprise allows us to see other people for who they are, but also for them to come out. So when we are navigating our parenting journey, please, parents, always allow your children to surprise you. Say, surprise me, what do you want? So that we start cultivating this thing of kids showing up for themselves, showing up for who they are, showing up as their true self. Because to live in a world where you don't matter, and then when you grow up, you are supposed to be this head of the house, now you matter. That really could manifest itself in so many toxic ways if we don't cultivate it at a young age and in a healthy way. So if we were not parented in a healthy way, guys, it's so important to start by healing ourselves and then to equip ourselves to be better conscious parent. So that is why I love conscious parenting. I love healing journey, because honestly, whatever we are dealing with now happened somewhere else. And that is why we need to do the work to heal it. So generally people raise children the same way they were raised. So if a caregiver is absent in the growth of a child, this also affects their socialization growth. So there's a missing link, even though physically a person is fully grown, but there's something missing in their character, in their emotional, in their mental. And that is the problems you will find and deal with in your relationship. So as a last share, I think I've been sharing this with all other videos, the healing journey, which focuses on the individual, and also the conscious parenting, which focuses on equipping you so that you parent in a way that liberates you, also liberates your children, and helping you heal from your own parenting wounds, meaning the way you were parented. So you can inbox for details, or you can use the cell number and the email on this on this slide. Yeah, I don't see comments. I'm gonna check for comments now. I'm leaving. Okay, cool. So when you catch up, you can do replay and you can comment, because I think the more we speak, the more we realize that actually there is, oh my goodness, solutions. Oh my goodness, I'm not alone. Oh my goodness, there is possibilities of actually really saying this is real. It's not just in my head. So when we give life to our own issues, we actually can start having the courage to deal with them. So when you find yourself taking responsibility of your mother, you know, emotional burdens where we go tell our children what is wrong with us instead of dealing with it ourselves, it can lead to them fearing life altogether. So you need to really test yourself. What is the responsibility and the burden you carry that is your mother's, that you need to, one, heal from, let go of, so that it doesn't become who you are in the future? So I will check on comments later. I will respond on those comments. And I think that is the end of the mother wounds. And if there's more that you see for yourself, it's, of course, you know, there's always help around. There's always help around, guys. Just do the inner work of liberating your own self. Thank you for being here. I'm going to log off now and let you enjoy your Sunday lunch.